It's the recap. It's the recap.
What are we calling this?
The recap preview recap.
We can't call it that. That makes no sense.
Hey guys, welcome to our first of many, hopefully, of this new kind of series format. Don't know what to call it. We're going to go over the sport and events that kind of happened last week and what's coming on in the following week. So we kind of get like a review preview kind of thing.
A review?
Yeah, the review preview.
So not a review, just a review.
Yeah, sure.
So should we start with the Champions League?
Yeah, let's start with the Champions League.
If you want to take us through the PSG game.
Mbappe made a nice couple of runs last night, but was called very quickly offside. They weren't even brought into VAR. The linesman just kind of blew it up and went, "Oi, stop!" And then some of them were. I personally don't think some of them were even offside at that point. I'd have let him run a little bit more, and then you could obviously got the tell better from the situation, and then go back to VAR if you need to. But some of the runs, just like he just wasn't offside yet. He may have got just about to be.
Just calling it immediately.
Yeah. He called it, and one of the shots that linesman, he looked really happy with himself. He was like, "Oh, I've done my thing, done my bit. I'm out here. I'm doing my job." And it's like
doing his job. I was watching it. I saw like the last 10 minutes when Bayern were putting pressure on to try and get the goal that would have got them through. The refereeing, I never like European refereeing anyway because I think it's too soft. So I always get annoyed with watching like European football. Although next season when West Ham are in it, it's going to be the best. Mark Noble just 2 foot in Neymar. Can't wait for it. It definitely is. But at the same time, like I also do like the fact that they will call it for offside when it's obvious. Whereas there are times in the Premier League where like you'll be 20 yards offside, and it's like, now we're going to wait until he's like put the ball in the back of the net just to look at it.
Until you've celebrated, gone, yeah, we've got it, and they go, let's wind it back for VAR, and you got to like, there's a happy mix that needs to happen where VAR and the linesmen need to work together, because currently they kind of work asynchronously. They're not gelling the way they should to make the best situation of both worlds.
But at the same time, it should be down to the referee to say, okay, I acknowledge that you've put the flag up, but I want to let it play on.
Yeah, but then also they plays the whistle, but is it plays to the flags as well? Because if you see the linesman pop his flag and stuff,
it's not, and that's what happened in the Premier League when VAR first came in. The linesman would flag, and they'd been told to play to the whistle, but loads of the players would switch off because they see the flag up. But you learn from like the age of 4. You play to the whistle, so they should ignore the flags, carry on, and then if the referee agrees with the linesman, bring it back for offside. But if not, let it go on and let VAR do what it needs to do.
The priest said obviously Chelsea Porto last night.
Chelsea were expected to go through.
Did Porto have their 2 first choice, the second and first choice forwards back? Because I remember the last Chelsea match they were running their third.
They had at least one of them back. I was more interested in the PSG Bayern game because I thought it'd be the better contest, which it definitely was.
Definitely. Not biased.
Well, no, because it was the tighter game. Nothing to do with who was in it. But I think Porto were always going to struggle to get through in that game. I think out of all the quarterfinal draws, they definitely had you look at all the games and that was the one that's probably the easiest to call. I mean, tonight you've got Dortmund, Man City. Yeah, Man City are 2-1 up. And you've got Liverpool, Real Madrid. Real Madrid are 3-1 up. I think if that was last year, you'd say Liverpool still had a good chance to go through, but Liverpool needs to score 2 goals and not concede. And the way that they're playing at the moment, they look like they will concede.
Especially with their back line.
Exactly.
People love Trent, they hate Trent. I'm ambivalent on Trent. Ambivalent, whatever. On Trent. He just seems to be, when he had Van Dijk there to back him up, he seems super strong.
There is no Van Dijk at the moment, exactly.
Yeah. All the teams kind of went, oh, if we just run it at Trent, and then there's no Van Dijk to support him, they can just run it through.
But since last week, when obviously he made one of the mistakes that led to one of the Real Madrid goals, he then had a really good weekend where I think he got a goal and maybe even an assist, but he played really well and everyone was like loving him for that.
Do you want to do a quick overview of the Prem this weekend, Charlie Booker?
Yeah, so this weekend in the Premier League kicks off on Friday with Everton Spurs, which will be a massive game for European ambition. Whether that will even be for top 4 now is becoming a bit of a question mark. With Spurs dropping points, Everton have got a game or 2 in hand, but I think that Everton, it might be too far off now. They're on their 30 games played, everyone else is on 31. This is a massive game for all the clubs above them. So Leicester, West Ham, Chelsea, Liverpool will all be looking at this. I think the best result for all of those other teams would be a draw, because it just allows the gaps to grow between those two and the leading pack of sort of 4 teams that are going for that top 4 finish. Saturday, the game that I've picked out is Newcastle West Ham. With
any bias on that one? Any bias on that one?
I mean, it's the sort of game that we'll go into and we'll lose because we beat Leicester last weekend, and like with that thing where it'd be a very West Ham thing to do. I hope I'm wrong and that we do win it, because if we do, we go up into third place because Leicester don't play until Sunday, and then that's in the FA Cup anyway. Arsenal-Fulham could be a good game on Sunday in the Premier League. If Fulham don't win there, you might be thinking that it's a little bit too far gone for them to get out of the relegation zone, especially as I think some of the teams around them will then end up having 2 games in hand on them.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably the pick of the games. I mean, obviously there'll be other people that say otherwise, but I think the biggest game for the weekend for me is, the Friday match is huge because it could mean that Everton and Spurs are really far behind, like dropping too far behind to start chasing for top 4.
It's kind of the opposite at the beginning of the season. Everyone would think Everton Spurs can be up there, obviously compete with European football, and now no one would have put West Ham at the top of the leaderboard, and West Ham's just kind of doing their own thing. They're up there. They're actually holding their own as well. It's not like they're just flukely getting up there. They're holding their own.
Yeah, I mean, 9 goals scored in the last 3 games I wouldn't say that's a fluke. You know, it's not West Ham of old where we'd score 1 goal and then just hold on and try and get a 1-0 win or a 1-1 draw or something. We're going into games like really fighting for it now, which is nice to see, and I hope we do the same thing against Newcastle.
Nicely brings us on to the FA Cup. Doesn't at all, but we're moving to the FA Cup.
So yeah, Chelsea-Man City is the Saturday game. Semi-finals now. I think that Chelsea are in a really good run of form. Obviously lost to West Brom, but they were down to 10 men, so you can't really read too much into that. Man City are obviously just ridiculous anyway at the moment, although they lost at the weekend as well. But I think money would be on Man City, but I think it would be a good game. It could go to extra time in my opinion.
So who do you think out this weekend, FA Cup going on to the final, who are you putting in the final?
Well, the other game's Leicester-Southampton, which I think Southampton haven't played brilliantly recently, but you know, it's the FA Cup semi-final, anything can happen. I think the money for most people would be Man City-Leicester in the final. I'd like to see Chelsea go through to the final.
Do you think they would their current form though? Like, I always jinx it now and I'll say, Havertz, I don't rate him as a player and all this stuff, and then he'll just go and scream one in. It kind of seems to be the run of form at the moment. But do you think Chelsea have it against Man City, honestly?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. Like, obviously they've done well against Porto. This is going to be obviously a more difficult game. It depends if either of the teams rest anyone because they're focusing on the Champions League. I mean, you'd hope that they won't, and you don't think that Pep would because he wants to win everything. So I do think Man City will go through, but I reckon Chelsea will give them a good game. And then between the two, I think if you're going to try and stop Man City, I think Leicester would be in the better position to do so than Southampton. And Leicester will have a bunch of players back that were not allowed to play in the West Ham game for like internal club reasons with COVID. So I see Leicester going through. Definitely.
Talking of trophies, F1. No, Imola is this weekend.
What a segue.
Imola this weekend. Obviously last year you got, Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo shared the podium up there. Did a couple of shoeys. What do you think's happening this weekend?
What do I think will happen this weekend? I hope it's a continuation of where we started. I hope that it's super close between Verstappen and Hamilton. I'd love it if we get another car that's not a Mercedes or a Red Bull on the podium. You know, if Ricciardo's there again, great.
I think Lando could chance and push it up there. He's a lot more acquainted with that Mercedes McLaren now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lando had the old McLaren to get used to, but now it's got the Mercedes power engine. Yeah, he's getting a little bit used to how new engine works. But Daniel Ricciardo's got a whole new car, so I think Lando's going to get in there. And I think the next 1 or 2 maybe races, you'll see that's like how well acquainted he is. Yeah. You'll see Daniel Ricciardo get more used to the car and used to pushing it to the limit because obviously he's gone from the Red Bull car, which you drive on the edge the whole time, to the Renault, which is a bit more forgiving and you couldn't push it as hard all the time because you saw the brakes and stuff like that last season. But I think it's McLaren. It can do a nice hybrid of the two. It's going to challenge the Mercedes and the Mercedes definitely. Don't know how the Red Bull. Obviously, we've seen one race, Max storming it. It was just strategy that let him down the other week.
Yeah.
But I think the Mercedes McLaren could challenge Imola against the normal Mercedes.
I'd like to see Sergio Perez actually be able to put in a decent qualification and then actually start where he's meant to on the grid and not have to start in the pit lane. Because I think what he did last race was obviously really impressive to get it back up to 5th. So I think if he can do anything like that again, or carry on from where he's left off of going through the grid and stuff, that'd be really good. I think that we could have someone other than Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas on the front three, like in the front three for sure.
Was it the AlphaTauri last year came 4th with Danny Kvyat inside? That's what I was thinking about Tsunoda. Was you've got, okay, they had Albon last year. Yeah, okay, Perez should be getting up there. But if the AlphaTauris are good on Imola anyway, you've got Yuki Tsunoda, who's very good in that car, as well as Pierre Gasly. But what my thinking is, are you going to get, you know how Red Bull, they just see a new driver come through who's 18, drives like Max, and they go, you, in, now. Do you think Perez is going to be slightly, he did a very amazing drive last week, is he going to be nervous that Red Bull is going to go, you out, Tsunoda in within a couple of weeks, because that's how they've done it for the last couple of drivers?
I don't know. You'd like to think that he's earned himself some time because he's more experienced. Whether that's the case or not, though, is going to be a completely different matter, and only those within Red Bull will know. Whether there's anything been discussed about, like, you know, you've got to let me have at least this many races. I feel like, you know, if you're going to sign for Red Bull at the moment, that's what you'd be,
one race.
You'd be trying to put that in your contract to say, like, you've got to at least give me a chance. I don't think that they'd get rid of him because he is so experienced. And it's not a bad position for them to be in, to have that experience alongside Max. And they know that he's someone that will pick up decent points. It's not... I don't think he's going to make mistakes, as many mistakes.
He's experienced. He knows what's going on. Like,
exactly.
You haven't got an Albon who's rookie season jumping straight from that AlphaTauri into a Red Bull. It's a bit...
Yeah, and I think, dodgy. like you saw in the Drive to Survive and stuff, like you saw that there were times when Red Bull needed Albon to go and get on the podium or go and win a race, and he didn't make the most of the opportunity. And I think that Perez will. And I think we will see Perez win a race this year, for sure.
Definitely. Talking of rookies, do you want to talk about a rookie boxer that hasn't fought before? Ben Askren.
Hasn't fought before in boxing, though.
He's a rookie boxer. It'll be his first professional boxing fight, to my knowledge, against a seasoned veteran with 2 knockouts, Jake, the problem child Paul, whatever he wants to be known as.
The Maverick. Wait, no, that's the other one.
That's Logan. That's the other. He's fighting.
He's the one.
Floyd. Yeah. He's fighting Floyd. No, it's the younger, more disgruntled brother, Jake Paul.
Well, I'm trying to wait for you to stop talking. Okay. So, anyways, like, this is typical bully behavior, but obviously sometimes the bully picks the wrong person.
This is the fucking fight game. You pussy ass bitch. This is the fucking fight game.
So what we've got. We've got Ben Askren, Jake Paul, press conference, you know, going at it. You've got Ben Askren, fighter. He's not a showman, to put it politely. He's never really been that much of a showman. He's not a McGregor, he's not a Jake Paul, he's not a low gang for life kind of guy. He's just there chilling on stage. And you've got Jake, who's, well, known for being a bully at school.
Really? Yeah,
he's known for being a bully, as multiple kids came out saying how he bullied them at school. Allegedly. Don't sue me, Jake.
If I put a grandma in against Jorge Masvidal, she would have lasted longer than this guy. You know, a guy who choked in the Olympics, a guy who choked in the UFC, and now a guy who's going to choke against Jake Paul.
He says choke against Jake Paul. He may be a choker, like a pressure choker. You've seen how Weller choked against KSI, because Weller's very well known for, no matter what sport he does, just choking. It's a COVID environment, so there's going to be less people in the crowd anyway.
That's a good point.
You're not going to have a massive crowd. So, yeah, he may choke on high-pressure stage environments, but if you've seen him in some of the fights, he actually does throw down. It's only he's in the Masvidal fight, but the Masvidal fight was a rare occurrence.
He's only lost 2, hasn't he?
The Masvidal was a 5-second knockout.
Yeah.
I think it was a flying knee. But it's anything. You just have the off chance. If you get tapped on the skull, your brain just kind of, you have an off chance of just going, oh, and you're off. You know what I mean? It's not. There's a level of skill to it, yes, but it's just pure luck. Sometimes if you get hit on the head, your brain just gonna just panic and knock you out.
I'd heard of Jake Paul prior to accepting this fight, but I couldn't have told you a lot about him or his brother. I knew, he kind of came up in his brother's shadow. He was trying to fill his brother's footsteps. You know, his brother is a lot more talented, has a larger following. Those type of things.
And look, Logan's great. He's a celebrity who's boxing, but at the end of the day, again, Logan is a real fighter who would whoop on a lot of guys.
Who's better, you or him at boxing?
Me, hands down. That's why I'm 3-0, 3 KOs. He's 0-1-1.
He's not 3-0, 3 KOs. He just
Is he
isn't.
4?
So he's done Deji,
That was
which wasn't a professional boxing fight with
that
headguard.
was a semi-pro, wasn't it?
He's done Gibb, and he's done Nate Robinson.
Okay, so he's 2-0.
He's got 2 knockouts, but it wasn't 3. Like he's chatting shit.
He ever whoop your ass when you were the little brother?
That's a yes.
That was a question, Jake. You're supposed to respond.
I just don't care about your questions.
Okay. So I'll take that as he rubbed your face in the carpet on a weekly basis.
Don't they always say that bullied kids, or kids that bully, are bullied at home?
It starts from the home, yeah.
So... Oh, it hurts me so much. The cringe laugh is actually cringe, though. Like, I know he's trying to be funny about it, but at the same time, yeah. Like, this is my problem. He sits there trying to be all like saying that he's a professional fighter, but at the same time, he's yet to do a press conference where he acts as a professional fighter. He's
trying to do the whole shit. I'm McGregor banter.
Yeah, but
he's
McGregor
he's trying to flog tickets.
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to flog tickets by being an arsehole on stage and just trying to flog as much as he can just to make money out of it.
Yeah.
Jake, in one of his interviews, with, I think it was the True Jolly podcast, he went, I was my businessman. I saw loads of money in boxing. So yeah, it's going to be money's going to be a drive. Like, he openly said he does boxing for the money.
But like McGregor has won the fight against people that are actually fighters, not against a YouTuber and an NBA player. My issue, my whole thing with the whole YouTube boxing stuff is that, and it's been said 100 times before, that, you know, you start boxing to get out of boxing because you don't want to have to be doing it. There is no respect there for people that actually do boxing professionally, like properly. And I know that he'll sit there and say that he's a professional boxer and stuff, but until you're actually fighting in proper fights, and I still kind of don't see this one. Like, obviously this is going to be his biggest test, but at the same time, it's not like he's going up against a recognised boxer.
And I get Jake, but Jake's working his way up still effectively. If you count Gibb working his way up,
but he's working his way up a completely different path. He's working his way up,
and he's shouting himself like he's the top dog.
Like, he's working his way up the "I am a showman. I've already got the following. I don't have to go and fight Joe Bloggs down at the local gym or anything like that." Like, there'll be a lot of people that will be watching it that will probably be pretty pissed off because they are actual boxers who have put a lot more into getting where they are, and they have nothing to show for it. And that's like, you know, and then he can come along and be like, "Oh yeah, we're selling tickets for $20 a pop," and it's probably going to be really
close for marketing though.
Yeah,
like, it just shows how boxing they need to evolve in this day and age and use their Instagram to market more and get more money out of it. It's just Jake Paul being like, "Hey lads, this is how if you want the quick way through." There's all the TikTok fighters and that stuff happening as well. It's just money.
And the difference between this and when you do YouTubers playing football is that when they do the YouTubers playing football, it's for charity.
Well, do you want to see Big Jake Paul's nasty sucker punch? They're on stage.
I've heard about this.
They're having a bit of a tussle. Like, there's like a little glass booth they've made to face off in because COVID, even though they stand next to they're outside anyway, which makes no sense. They've come outside. Big Jake has gone, I'm an hard lad. And so this is what his... In the press, everyone, he sucker punched Ben Askren after a horrible show. He showed him who's boss. He proper banged him.
So embarrassing. The champ is here, baby. Bro, you embarrassed. 36. Bitch. Hey. Don't fucking touch me, bitch. Get the fuck back here. Come on.
But he doesn't even react, which is great. I mean,
KSI Weller on stage fight with Elliot Crawford in the middle of it was worse than that. They were like their little Sky on stage and KSI just throws a man across the table. That was worse than that. That was just Jake going, I'm gonna get you. And like, it was fucking awful.
Yeah. Who do you think will win and who do you want to win?
I want Askren to win. I want Askren to win because Jake Paul's been a bit of an arse. Being a bit, he always is. I prefer the Logan Two brothers. Jake Paul, I think, like most boxing fights, has a chance. Everyone's got a chance. Ben Askren has been shown that he can be knocked out.
Yeah.
Jake Paul hasn't been knocked out. He hasn't gone against Gibb or anyone. Or he's gone against Gibb, but hasn't really been tested for knockout potential. Like, being knocked out potential. He's knocked out a couple in training, I'm aware of. So I think Jake's going to go for a knockout because he knows this guy his brain can shut off if they can get the punch on right. And if that happens, it happens. That was the recap. It's not going to be called that until we get a name. But I'm going with that until we get it.